One of the largest neighborhoods in Glenview isn't really in Glenview at all. Countryside has managed to stay independent of Glenview's corporate boundaries, instead governed since 1942 by the Glenview Countryside Civic Association's bylaws and board of directors. Bounded roughly by Central Road, Milwaukee Avenue, Glenview Road, and Wedel Lane, Countryside's 560 mostly single-family homes can voluntarily pay annual dues to the Civic Association, which legally can issue no binding edicts or laws. An early pamphlet explained, "It is the embodiment of democracy in its truest sense, a small community, voluntarily united, to accomplish those things which individuals cannot do singly. Government strong enough to help the community, yet loose enough to hinder no individual." The association hosted community activities and clubs at a civic building constructed after World War II using dismantled materials from the Civilian Conservation Corps barracks erected as part of the Skokie Lagoons project in the early 1930s. Its historic reluctance to be annexed by Glenview, specifically to pay municipal taxes, is shared by its counterpart to the south, the 223 residences that make up the Westfield subdivision, once the site of a small airport. In the 1950s, Countryside was desperate to renovate its deteriorating sewers. After briefly eyeing annexation, it instead got help from Northfield Township, which floated a revenue bond. The association eventually spearheaded the formation of the Northfield Township Sanitary District. In the late 1970s, when the well water table practically dried up one summer, annexation was again skirted when the village of Glenview eventually bought 2 water systems, renovated them, and sold Countryside residents Lake Michigan water. Newer residents seeking better services through the village petitioned for annexation in the 1980s, bringing the on-again, off-again matter to a head. The village of Glenview set a referendum for November 4th, 1987. The issue was settled at the ballot box. Countryside and Westfield residents voted it down decisively. Except for individual property requests, there's been no further serious talk of annexation since. Although its annual Countryside Days carnivals are long gone, the neighborhood still holds community events, like a cookie exchange in December. Residents continue to rely on the Cook County Sheriff's Office for police protection and Northfield Township for road and sidewalk maintenance. While the Civic Association has minimum home building requirements, permits are issued by Cook County. Future decisions on land use, transportation, infrastructure, and capital improvements for Countryside and the surrounding, densely populated portion of unincorporated Cook County will be guided by the 2019 Maine Northfield Unincorporated Area Plan. Learn more about Glenview history at glenviewhistory.org and on Facebook at facebook.com/glenview.history.center.